Hi there, welcome back on my YouTube channel. I am Matteo Migliorini, but you can call me Matt. Today I want to do something of difference or I did in the past because I read some comments on my YouTube channel and yeah, I very later. But for example, on this tutorial where is I show one way for create, for example, the snowfall. I read the message here. Is was from Lina. Lina, I don't know how to say sorry, but I say on Houdini 20.5 mountain nodes looks completely different. Can you help me on that? Obviously, you can yes, a function is the same function as manual explain, okay, but I want to show you also some different way for create the noise, because the concept now is the noise. In this case where I created the plane, for example, I can create the grid here, okay, and I go inside my network and okay. Also, this is version from about okay 20.5. Okay, so it's the new version today. I have today installed it. I don't know if there is another, but anyway, be 100. Okay, and then I can apply the mountain. If I can apply the mountain, you can see, okay, it's a different node. You can have, for example, here the vector name from attribute. We can have the points, the class where is applied the noise, the vector, and if the operation, if add or zero center, and the value from correct. Is not more difference from the old. You can see I can apply here, for example, and here, for example, I start to create more element sites, set, okay, for example, in this case, like the old tutorial, I can use, for example, control FF. You can see if I click play, it's too much faster, okay, but I can divide, for example, 100. You can see it's very slowly. Obviously, in this case, you have the simple. You can choose, for example, the axis, only the axis for apply the offset. For example, from this, okay, delete this channel 0, yes, or only on x axis. Also, you can apply automatically. You have here the animation. You can pulse, but pulse is more similar because we have here hybrid.rain. By the way, this is one classic way for apply, for example, the noise. There is another way. I prefer this way sometimes because I think is more flexible. Is more flexible because you can, for example, create with the attribute VOP. From the attribute VOP, you can connect the attribute VOP. You can jump inside the attribute VOP. I can make more room, for example, like this. Okay, we can say like this also full screen. We can see better what's it's happen. Okay, and parameters. So we can concentrate only on this. We can create the noise. For create the noise, I can go here. If I say noise, I have different kinds of noise, but the better noise you can use and more artists use, for example, is the anti-aliased noise. Okay, and obviously if I connect the position from this noise to position, and the outside is position, you can see is disappear my my grid. Is not disappeared, is moved a lot up. This is because I work on the points on the position of the geometry and is go up. I can say, okay, I can delete this. I can say I want add this noise to all my points. So I can want to change all position points of my grid here with the noise, with add additional the noise. So we can use the add node here and here, and we can assign position. Okay, and we can see essentially I apply the noise. Okay, this noise is not animated. I can create, for example, simples. I can work with, for example, the ruggedness, amplitude. I can say apply from 3D output in 3D noise. It's better. Okay, and I have this kind of noise. Obviously, it's not animated. I can animate it very simple this with using the offset. For offset, I can go here, for example, and I can say, for example, at time, for not to use the FF, for example, or for use the different kind of expression, because it's the same. You can use $T, you can use, for example, at time. If I press play, is nothing is happening. Okay, why is nothing is happening? In this case, we can delete this, or you can say $T. We can see if the same is not happening, because you can say here the alert, and the alert is say this node has not cooked yet, cannot have channel with depender of time. For use the time in this case, we can use the another little workaround. So we have here time, okay, times and frames. Okay, I want to use the time in this case, so I want to use the time. I need to convert this because the time is the vector 4 vector. Essentially, is the vector you have only three-dimensional x, y, and z. In this case, we have also the 4 vectors. So float to vector is that, okay, and here I can connect the time to float vector, and then I can connect the vector to my offset. We can see now, if I press play, I have the animation. Okay, obviously here the animation is applied on all three axes. I want, for example, only one axis. I can split that in 3 axes. I can say, for example, vector float. Okay, connected here. Sorry, connected here, and connected this here. So I have only one axis. Okay, or better, I can say vector float vector. Okay, I can say only one axis. Okay, you can see only one axis. You can do another things more nice for me. For example, you can create 3 parameters for control the speed. So I can create the multiply, for example, and parameter. Can connect my this to this, and then parameters 1 here. Okay, now if I press play, is not moved. Why? Because here in my parameters I have the value from 0. If I say 0.5, you can see very slow. If I say 2, still slow. 10 minus 10. It's a float. say 5. You can see it's more faceted. Okay. Okay, it's more faceted now because, for example, I can say I don't want for this direction. I want, for example, -1. This is another way for create the mountain, for create the noise from your object, and this is very nice for me, for my aspect, because you can use all time also in different kind and different release of Houdini. You can use better in this way. Also, you can go here, for example, from parameters. You can here you have the parameters. You can have the speed. You can control the speed. You can customize your interface. So it's for me it's working better. Okay, better respect the mountain. Okay, there is a lot of information, a lot of tools. Maybe it's more faster in some way, but essentially I prefer that. I hope you like this tutorial. In the next time I publish another tutorial where I answered from another question I did was done in the past. If you have the new question, if you want some new tutorial, let me know. Bye.